Welcome back to the Mozilla Festival 2011. Our guest today now is an accomplished trapeze artist. She's also known as the Chief Lizard Wrangler. In other words, she's the chairperson of the Mozilla Foundation Mitchell Baker. Welcome, and could you tell us what the main aim of the Mozilla Festival is this year?
Sure. The main aim of the Mozilla Festival is to combine some of the work we've been doing with exciting new technologies and with the people who are most likely to use them and we think really enjoy them and get some use out of them, and that would be journalists and media organizations. And also to bring the spirit, sort of the can-do spirit of I can understand, I can make things, that's so fundamental to the web, and see if we can weave that into some interaction between journalists and developers.
So the subtitle of the festival this year is Media, Freedom and the Web. Media and the web is obvious, I think, to viewers. What does the freedom mean?
The freedom is our approach to what the internet should be. I mean, the internet is very rich, it can be many things, it's exciting, it's scary, but the Mozilla approach is that the internet needs to represent freedom as well. In our case, we're talking about freedom in relationship to the technology. So we ourselves build technology that's open source, but there are other aspects to it, and freedom means the sense I can understand the technology, I can make use of it. It's not something external and scary that happens to me that I might like or I might not like, but just like in the physical world, we can take things apart and understand them and change them and make them ours. The same is actually true of the technology that makes up the internet. And so the idea of freedom is that as individuals, those of us who want to, actually are able and can continue to be able to take the internet apart and make sure that it's doing what we think it's doing, not tracking us or doing secret things, but also that we can make it work better for us and that we can share it with other people and make it accomplish new tasks. Who knows what journalism will need in the internet world, and who better than journalists to be able to express, oh, this works for me, this doesn't work for me, what if X was possible? And so the media folks and journalists don't need to be able to create X necessarily, but to understand the language enough to say, we could tell better stories if we could trust our sources better. That kind of understanding that the internet is for all of us, we think is pretty key to remaining free.
And to what extent is internet freedom under threat then?
Oh, it's under pretty serious threat. But maybe the biggest threat is people forgetting that the internet can be open, and the internet growing into something that's like a black box that's very technical and hard to understand. So we have threats from some business models or some companies that want everything to be closed. We have threats from some governments that want to control the internet. But I think the greatest threat is that people never learn that the internet can be open, that technology allows it to be open, and that we actually never understand. And if people don't know that there's a possibility, then it's really hard to make it real.
Sure. Now, you've launched a very exciting new project here at this festival, popcornjs. Can you tell us a little bit what is revolutionary about that?
Oh, sure. Think for a moment about watching visual things on the web. We'll call it video. But right now, you watch. And the interaction is determined beforehand by the person who created the video. And the tools are very professional for doing that, but right now the technology only allows the developer to make certain decisions at the time they create the video, and then you, as the person who watches it, you consume it and you have some interactive choices. But the web, of course, is very different. If you think about how you interact with websites and text and links, it's much more individual, and you can follow the path that suits you best, and you actually create your own experience. Well, that's quite possible with video. And popcorn is the technology that makes that real. So to try and be a little more concrete, let's say you're watching a video, moving images. You can add to it, for example, real-time information about that image. So we saw a video last night which is a documentary about high-rises, and it focuses on a particular high-rise complex in Toronto. But when you watch the video, the weather you see in the high-rise is the weather that moment in Toronto. So it's not determined beforehand. So your experience of that video will be partially dependent on what the weather is like at the moment that you watch it. Or you can now make videos where, like we could do something with this festival, where as you watched the video, you would see the real-time tweets that were being generated right now. So you could watch the video today and you'd get one set of information that was real. And then, of course, the developer will have choice about what kinds of information is available. And so Popcorn and Popcorn Maker are the tools to make that possible. And I should add, Popcorn Maker makes it much easier than you would think. So I would encourage anyone who's interested not to be too sure that you can't do it. And someday when you're feeling relaxed and not too stressed out, calm enough to try something new, to give it a try, because our goal is to make the web accessible to all.
I see, as a filmmaker, you might think, oh my God, I've lost control of my audience, But on the other hand, you could think, I'm not just making one film, I'm making many.
Yes. Well, in fact, we had some students from Oakland, film students who went through one of the early Mozilla Popcorn courses, describing just that the role of filmmaker is different. But of course, you still have a choice. I mean, for films or parts of films where it's really important to control the story and to create the complete experience that your viewer experiences, that's still quite possible. But it's also possible to make the choice to do, as you said, to make many films or to be interactive. So I think we'll see. I think this will be new in filmmaking, and there's a lot of learning and exploring, both for filmmakers and for the casual, I'm making a video of my wedding.
Last year's theme launch was the Drumbeat. Could you briefly explain for viewers what that is and how it's going?
Sure. Mozilla is best known for Firefox, the web browser. We build that browser to build certain traits into the internet, as I described earlier, that Firefox has great leverage for that. But also, browsers are becoming, they're almost like infrastructure. Right? You use Firefox to do many other things. And so we have a large community of people involved in the Firefox layer, but we're getting to know more and more people who are interested in the values we care about, in the being in control of technology and user sovereignty and those sorts of things, but aren't interested in building something like Firefox and want to do other things. Or they're educators and they want to figure out, how do we take what Mozilla knows about developing and learning in a decentralized fashion and apply it to teaching? Or how would we take what we've learned about technology and apply it to filmmaking? And so Drumbeat is our initiative to move beyond infrastructure, move beyond the Firefox browser, and use what we've learned and work with new groups to see how those can appear in other aspects of life.
Thank you very much. What are your hopes for the year to come?
Well, my main hope is that more people recognize that the internet is for all of us. It is accessible. It doesn't need to be a scary piece of technology that we just kind of receive and hope it's okay, but that it is something we can get our hands on and make. And that's probably my main hope in relation to Mozilla and the internet. There's plenty of other hopes about what happens to the world.
Mitchell Baker, it's a delight to have you here. Thank you very much. We'll be back soon.